All right, ladies and gentlemen, I do apologize. During this episode, we actually had some technical difficulties. So when we pick up, we're actually going to start off with little Jacob talking right into the Dallas Cowboys game. So once again, I do apologize. Thank you for listening.
All right, no problem. Yeah, man, we'll see what happens here. Dallas is looking pretty hot against the Washington. I know it's Washington, but still, it's kind of game sometimes guys need to get them over the hump when they're playing a good team, and I think it's going to be good. A good game regardless. It's really curious to see how our defense plays against Kyler Murray and that offense he has. I mean, the Colts were able to make them look good again. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, if the Detroit Lions can make the Cardinals look average or below average, I don't see any reason why the Dallas defense can't do the same. But it should be a really good game. I'm gonna be excited for that one. It's gonna be a noon game, not noon, but in the afternoon, 3:25.
Yeah, I think that will be a pretty good game. Actually, like just though for that because I made my. If you guys have followed the podcast, it's like a 4 to 5 weeks sucked more industry. Um, to be honest. So with that being said, team they definitely hit a hot streak towards the end, and a guy who usually competes for our championship every year in our league and wins it. I beat him last round, and there's some controversy of beating him because Zeke popped off, T. Higgins popped off,
Mm-hmm.
and basically he had everybody done on Sunday. I still had Jalen Waddle and Ski tight end Jimmy today. I was already up by like 6 points. I took Jalen Waddle and Oster. I had no chance of losing. Jalen Waddle ended up plays. Did with that because should have this guy in. Played,
Yeah.
played myself. You know, you can cry all you want, but that's just management. I already had the win secured. He literally had nobody playing. Why take a risk of somebody fumbling or getting hurt, losing him
Yeah.
winning the ball, you know? But I am worried this week because Dallas had such a strong performance against Washington. The guys got rested half. I have Tony Pollard and Zeke. And honestly, I need everybody to hit this.
Yeah.
I got Patrick Mahomes, Zeke, Melvin Gordon, T. Higgins, Keenan Allen, Mike Krzyzewski, Jalen Waddle, Kobe Myers, the Browns defense. Um, Mahomes is playing Cincinnati. Or they may rest him.
Yeah.
I've got Cousins as a quarterback. Daryl Henderson, I lost him. He went on IR. Um, so I don't know. I don't know if I should play Zeke and Tony Pollard together for the championship. Got D Williams. I know he's been sharing a lot of touches since Clyde Edwards. I don't know if I should sit Mahomes. Like, afraid they're gonna pull these guys. It's a pretty close matchup. It's 48% me, 47% me is 50%.
Mm-hmm.
I'm projected 133. I don't know. What do you think? Like a Zeke and Pollard, or
I mean, I think it would be a good idea. One of the things that I noticed about the Cardinals that's going to play in Dallas's advantage, especially if the defense can really come up, is that Kyler Murray's last three games have been basically a sub 90 quarterback rating. Like he hasn't been playing well at all. Even with the win against the Colts, the passing game just wasn't that efficient. And if that gets exposed, then that means potentially that Dallas is going to end up having a short field to work with during the game, especially if they can get turnovers. To me, which means that most likely you might see some more carries by Pollard and Zeke because they have that short field to get first downs and even score. Then, especially if we get ahead far enough in the game to run the clock, that they're going to be handing off the football. You know what I mean? So that's definitely a possibility. I think best bet. I mean, I think it'd be a good idea to start at least Pollard at the most. I'm not sure how Zeke's knee is 100%. I'm willing to bet that Pollard is probably in a better health wise to run the football on Sunday. But yeah, I mean, just looking at what's happening with the defense and the offense for both the teams that are playing the Cardinals and Dallas, um, it wouldn't be a bad idea to at least start one of those running backs because we might be working with the short field and hopefully the lead and running the football a lot.
So looking at this playoff like berth
Mm-hmm.
right now, it stands. You have Kansas City, you have Dallas 11, Green Bay 12-3, and here's um, you have Rams at 11-4. You have Arizona at 10-5, who have both made the playoff, but they have not clinched.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's kind of why I'm on the fence because literally they're 11-4, Bucks are 11, Rams are 11 in the NFC, and Green Bay they are playing.
Yes.
They've had tough games against me. Dalvin
Mm-hmm.
Cook's coming back off of COVID. Did see Adam Thielen being played. They could drop. Could be a potential game for Alice out falls out like they did this past weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Then they could be tied 12
Yep.
and 4. Have a chance to potentially get like first round bye.
Yeah.
Um, that's kind of why I'm like stuck on like, man, like, should I play both Tony and Zeke? Because what I'm afraid of is like they're gonna definitely limit one to give they limit really rest him up with his and Tony gets a huge workload. Got him on. I'll need all the points I can get. Either way, I'm guaranteed $100 payout. Um, places like a
Nice.
championship. But moving on from that, I mean, you got San Francisco 8-7. They're right there in the. You got Atlanta Falcons
Mm-hmm.
at 7. Philly
It's
eight
really
and seven.
close. A lot of these are really close, like records, and it's like,
See, there's so many 8-7.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like this, where it's really coming down to the wire for some of these teams, these last two football games, because it's going to be like, well, either someone's going to drop a game and they're going to be done, or what if they win both the games next week, and next week and then the following week, then there's a tie scenario going.
Bro,
So there's a bunch of different stuff that can happen within the next 2 weeks with the playoff picture.
the
Um,
AFC is you have these are the records: Bills, not Patriots, 8-7; Bengals, Ravens, Steelers 7; Browns 7; Titans 10-5; Colts 9-6, City 11, Chargers 8-7, Raiders 8-7, goes 7. There's only like one, two. There's like 3 teams that have no chance of making the playoffs. Everybody else, if they went out, could possibly make the playoffs.
Yeah.
I've never seen that in an NFL season before. It's usually you already have like week 15. It's pretty much decided, you know.
Yep. And right now, the interesting thing that's going on for Dallas is that, especially if they stay, even if they make the first seed, there's still a possibility of this, but it's most likely to stay second seed. It's possible they're going to have to play the Eagles the last game and then play them again in the playoffs. And honestly, out of the teams that are on this list, which is the 49ers, the Eagles, and the Vikings, because they're the bottom of the tier, and that's how they set up the matchups. I would rather play the Eagles because just of how well we know the team, how many times we've played that same roster. I'd rather us play against a team we know and we're prepared for, rather than a team that we haven't played yet or are prepared for, like with the 49ers.
Man, I'll say this: it is very hard to beat a team twice. It's even harder to beat a team.
Yeah.
That's what worries me. If that's you
Mhm.
guys got to play. I'd say that you guys couldn't do it. I think talent wise, everything you guys are way better. Said this last episode, man. Still the pros. So good.
Yeah. Yeah. I
And
mean, it's also independent. They can beat Washington if they can even beat Washington, because Washington is probably going to be playing with nothing to lose against the Eagles, but their pride, because they had a really bad out. We whooped their tails bad, so I'm sure they're going to be coming with some fury in that game against the Eagles. So
I was
if
so
they were to knock,
surprised.
yeah, I mean, if they were to knock the Eagles to 8-8, I mean, the Eagles could potentially just completely miss altogether, because if the Vikings somehow to win, go 8-8, be a different story. But we'll see. Like I said, there's so many scenarios where there's going to be a couple scenarios where teams are tied, and it's going to be a tie-breaking kind of situation to see which one of those teams gets to make it in. And sometimes it kind of seems like it's not fair, but yeah, I mean, there's a lot of similar records right now. It's pretty crazy. Even the Raiders still have a shot to make it into the playoffs
Yeah.
at this point as well. The Ravens, and I can't believe the Ravens how far they've fallen. I mean, they seem like the favorite to win the division, and now
And
that's not going to happen.
they have completed that with Lamar. It's crazy how much that changed. That
Yeah, and Joe Burrow and the Bengals, they are really taking over the division, and I don't really think they're going to lose another game, because who do they play next? They play Kansas City. That'll be a game. I'll tell you what, if the Cincinnati Bengals can beat Kansas City, and are they playing them there? Where are they playing? Are they playing at home, or are they playing in Kansas? Oh no, they're playing at home.
I mean, they very well could, man. They got
They
the
look good.
offense to do it.
So their win probability, according to DraftKings, is 32%. Kansas City 68%. But man, if I don't know, you might have to make that bet against Kansas City, and maybe put your money on Joe Burrow, because if he can play like he did last week and with the weapons he has, I mean, I wouldn't be completely shocked if they beat the Chiefs and really just make their stamp, and that'll kind of pretty much be a warning for the rest of the AFC going into the postseason, that Joe Burrow is not only playing big, but he's going to stay on fire like
Yeah.
through the rest of the season, because he's playing great, and the rest of his offense. So that's going to be a really good game to watch at 12 o'clock if you get up for that.
Um, who do you think is the hottest team?
The hottest team in the NFL.
I just looking at something here.
Mhm.
Your perspective on, because there's a team I feel like hot right now. 2 teams,
Yeah.
and then there's one team I feel like look at their winning streak. A lot of people could be like, "Oh man, they're like doing pretty good," won 4 in a row. But to me, actually, they're bare.
Hmm.
Which team do you think is?
I mean, right now the hottest has to be the Chiefs. They've won like for 2 months already 2 months in a row. They haven't lost a game. They've won five in a row out of the last five. The only other team that's coming close to the role that they're on is the Dolphins. The Dolphins are playing really well. I think they've won. Let's see here, 7 weeks in a row, and they're also have won five the last five games. So these two teams are, I mean, they're on fire right now. And unless someone like the Bengals, which is probably the most equipped to slow them down, the Chiefs, you never know. We might end up getting a Miami Dolphins and Chiefs matchup in the postseason there. And the Dolphins still technically have a shot to maybe even get close to win the division. It's a possibility, but definitely make the playoffs. The Bills are probably the more likely team to lose this weekend just because they're going to play the Falcons. I know it's only the Falcons, but Jacksonville, I don't think is going to beat the New England Patriots. Jacksonville's won 2 games all season. They're not going to beat Bill Belichick and the Patriots. So if that were to happen, Bills lose to the Falcons, Patriots win, the Dolphins win. I mean, they'll be right there with the Patriots for first place um, in the division. But yeah, I mean, right now I think the hottest team absolutely is going to be the Chiefs. They haven't lost a game for 2 months.
Yeah, the Dolphins are on a Chiefs are on a 8-game winning. The Colts are on a 3-game winning streak, AFC, and then Dallas is on a game winning streak, a 4-game streak.
Yeah,
Rams 4-game winning.
they're
They
playing shaky.
Yes, that's the team that I was referring to. That I feel like you could look at, their win streaks and be like, oh man, they're on a 4-game streak. They're playing pretty well. They're barely getting by. They're like Matthew Stafford's last game was.
It's why I'm not making it to the championship game, man. I mean, it was really ugly. And it's just frustrating because it seems like I ran into this scenario a couple times where okay, I give Kyler Murray a chance, I get burned, and I give him another chance, I get burned, and then I say, you know what, I'm not starting Kyler Murray anymore. I do. Kyler Murray has an okay game, and then I just get completely like blindsided by Stafford throwing 3 interceptions, and it's just, yeah, it was a really ugly game. I still don't understand how they even won that game. It's
I
near
don't either.
impossible to win a football game when you throw 3 interceptions, but
Well,
they're scraping by for sure.
I think the thing that kind of helped him was when Henderson went out. Excuse me, Henderson went out. That left them Sony Michelle as a running back. They've activated Cam Akers, his injury here. He
Mm-hmm.
actually may play Sunday, but I think that really hurt them because they definitely like to run. But I think with him going down, it was a very like simplistic run plays for Sony Michelle, just eat up the clock,
Yeah,
trying to put the ball more in Stafford's hands, and then having a bad game. So, man, like we really got to just keep pounding this ball, get first. It's not all. That was rough. That sucks, man. That got knocked out. Yeah, their last games 30-23, 20-10. There's the Jacksonville game. Yeah, they're, um Green Bay. I thought they're gonna lose that one.
yeah, that's probably, man. So the thing is like, so I was watching some of the talk show that they have Monday, and they talk about the teams that played, and it's kind of crazy to me how much praise a team can get for barely beating a team that they're supposed to beat, and should have beat by more.
Yeah,
But like you have like for example, Green Bay beating the Browns only by 2, and probably maybe not putting their best effort forward as far as defense goes. I mean, Baker Mayfield threw those interceptions and somehow was still in the game. And then you turn around and you see a performance like Dallas, but then like it seemed like everything in those talk shows, all they talk about is the negative takeaways or does this impress you or not? But everybody's like impressed with Green Bay winning by 2 points against the Browns. You know what I mean? Like there's no question it's impressive because of Aaron Rodgers. And yeah, I think it's crazy how it gets analyzed like that sometimes because like you said, Green Bay almost lost that game. And I wonder what kind of conversation we'd be having had they not won that game by 2 points. Then there was a controversial call, I guess you could say, that happened at the end of the game that might have changed everything.
Yeah.
Um, I kind of feel like we might be seeing the same Green Bay that we always see going into the playoffs. I mean,
Their last
it
two
seems
games,
really hot.
like the Ravens, beat the
Mhm.
Ravens 31-30.
Yeah,
They
it's close.
beat the Browns 22. And I'm sorry, man, but Peoples Jones, like that guy from the Packers had both hands in his pockets and was pulling him left and right. How that flag did not get thrown at the end of the game, I was just like, wow. Like that was one of those things where felt like, man, those refs just really wanted that game to be over.
Yeah,
Like I was very surprised. I've had several coaches make the same statement. Never um, leave the deciding factor of a game in the ref hands.
yeah. So I mean, the last time the Packers won the Super Bowl was like almost 11 years ago. And so I wonder, like, if they end up having the same result coming the playoffs, like what's going to happen if they think they need to change? What's Aaron Rodgers going to do? Because I mean, yeah, he won a Super Bowl a decade ago. Um, he's coming to the point in age in his career where he's not trying. He doesn't have much time to keep waiting another season and another season and another season because that's what he's done. He's half of his career has been waiting to get back to the Super Bowl, and it kind of seems like when they get really close, they they just end up doing something to just not get there. They fall short
You know
for
what?
the last 10 years.
I think it is. You were like how Green Bay gets so much, but Dallas doesn't really held under basically.
Yeah.
I kind of am gonna make like
Mm-hmm.
Dallas has so many high paid athletes. Okay?
Yeah.
Think of like the Yankees. Like the Yankees years have been notorious for buying their team. They
Mm-hmm.
get all the best players around the league to come to the team, great record, but then when it comes to postseason, always like big name guys that are like some of the best athletes in the NFL who make up the roster. That roster falls. Green Bay, you really think about it, like you got Aaron, got Devontae Adams, say Aaron Jones. That's pretty much like they're top notch. If you take Aaron Rodgers out of that equation,
Mm-hmm.
and Devontae Adams is irrelevant. He probably wouldn't be top 10 in the league for receiver, being honest.
Yeah.
But you look at like Dallas, you got CeeDee Lamb, got Ari Cooper, Zeke, Tony Pollard, Michael Gallup, Cedric Wilson, who's made him. You got David Schultz, who's has to be top three in the league right now in this state of the game. I'd say like George Kittle's one, Travis Kelsey's two, probably Mark Andrews is three. I'd put David Schultz four. Tight ends go
Yeah.
stuff because he's been killing it.
Yeah.
Um, they just have like so many weapons. I kind of feel like when things don't, well, it kind of brings up the question of like, how could this not go well? Look at every. You get
Yeah.
what I'm saying there?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that's kind of why they're because I agree with you. Like, they could win by 20. Conversation is like, well, They won by 21, but still not impressive. 21 points. You know?
Yeah.
Um, and the reason I feel that way, kind of make a college comparison, is there was a couple games this year for Ohio State where like they absolutely killed people,
Yeah.
and you had C.J. Stroud throw for like 500 yards and 5 touchdowns, and it still wasn't good enough, and they won by 28, and they're like they only beat Akron by 28 points. Like, they scored 4 more touchdowns than the other team. Like,
Yeah.
but it wasn't a 75 to nothing blowout. You know, but people seem to expect now. Not when I say people, I don't mean fans. I mean like analysts. These analysts nowadays, they like they seem to kind of have these like at these rosters to go out and beat teams by 40, 50 points. And it's like, but still the human error to this. Underperform for
Yeah.
elements as far as weather and stuff that can impact players.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, I don't know. Like, I kind of get where I think that's why I like Green Bay though. Not
Do you
that's
think?
kind of me.
Yeah, I know this is kind of like a quick one-off topic for football, but do you think that there ever be an age where they say, you know what, from now on, just to save money, reduce the impact of the environment or whatever. We're just gonna have all football games inside of a stadium, even if it's grass in there. Like we're gonna just have all the games now, all the NFL games. We're gonna do in stadium, rain, snow. That doesn't matter. We're gonna be indoors. Everybody can play at their maximum, performance. Temperature won't be too much of a factor. It's just gonna be the best you have on the field and the best that they can play. You think that'll ever happen someday?
I think it will. I think it'll be a very long time.
At least at the pro level.
Yeah.
I can't imagine that'll happen at a level below that, but at least at the pro level to be like, you know what? And then I would think it saved money too. You don't have to worry about cleaning up so much, especially like
Well,
in places like Lambeau where it snows and
I
all
think
that field
so.
management stuff.
Here's one thing with that. You'd have to. I remember it's Minnesota,
Yeah.
like University of Minnesota. There was a YouTube clip. They got so much snow and stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
there was so much weight on top of the dome. The dome actually collapsed in
Oh snap.
stuff, and it was like an off-season type thing where nobody was in there. Like, all the weight of the stones actually made the dome like the dome was old. Like you'd have to have ways able to like remove those type of things, especially if you're like
Got you.
in an area where
Yeah.
um, with technology and everything now, especially being like aided and climate,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's definitely a positive. But you'll probably see teams who have the supportive fan base. So like, put it in perspective, Green Bay, they wanted to
Mm-hmm.
build a dome stadium and say, hey, the one dome stadium added for the 18 each team. I would say like probably gonna have Green Bay, Steelers, um, Raiders are already in a dome.
Yeah.
I would say like Green Bay, Steelers, possibly the Bears. Those fan bases that sort of in cases
Mm-hmm.
like one of those teams hit the first because they'd probably have to like do up tickets.
Yeah.
People would pay for them. What would just happen? You do something like that with the Bengals, probably going to take a hit because that fan base is very much on the fence a lot of times. And we've sucked for some. You raise ticket price, ticket.
Yeah.
I think it's definitely something that could be done. I think it's some. Hell, look at what the did years ago. Have the ability to like their field into their stadium. They're to like drag the field outside, get natural lighting on it, fill the field stadium, and
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
like, wow, I don't know. I think depending on locations and big in Saints, by Texans, Dallas, like possibility.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see why. Who do you think's going to win the? Who do you think's going to be in the Super Bowl, man?
Think it's gonna be in the Super Bowl. I mean it's gonna be tough. There's gonna be some really good teams that show up to the Super Bowl in the end, or some really good teams that are gonna fight to show up to the Super Bowl in the end. But man, I'm really hoping that Dallas defense can keep playing the way they're playing, and the offense stays consistent in rhythm. And I think they can definitely get to that game realistically, especially with if they can play the way that they played this last game. It's going to be really tough for any team to beat them. And then on the AFC side, I mean, it's really close out there. It's really going to be more depending on how this game goes Sunday between the Chiefs and Cincinnati. But I mean, the Chiefs have been on fire for so long. I don't see any reason why they would just stop or slow down unless the Bengals just completely just knock them out. But I see the Chiefs going back too. I don't see any reason why the Chiefs wouldn't be there. That would be a pretty big Super Bowl if it was the Chiefs in Dallas so they get a chance at a rematch against them and hopefully put on a better performance than when we went over there. Which when we did, it wasn't most of just them beating us. It was mostly us beating ourselves as well because we played some pretty good defense and we shut out the Chiefs in the second half, but our offense could just never get it figured out that game, and we never really put any points on the board. So it'd be interesting to see a rematch like that in the Super Bowl between Dallas and the Chiefs. That'd be a really good one.
I think personally, I think the Chiefs, if they can get healthy, everybody back, and I think they're NFC though. Oh I think the Packers are going to fall short. I'm not buying into this hype train. Packers, they do
Yeah,
this crap every year.
it's been
Like
like this for a decade. It hasn't changed.
people bash Dallas and stuff, man, but like the Packers are worse in my opinion. They get to the NFC Championship all the time and they fall short. It's just like, damn, like at least you're consistent, but damn.
Yeah.
um, dude, I think if Dallas can stay healthy and Dan Quinn can keep mixing it up as far as the defense coordinator with the defense he's got, you guys look like insanely good on defense right now. I mean, freaking um, Trayvon Diggs. Holy crap, bro! How long did that record stand for?
It's been a long time. I
What,
mean, and I'm
11
hoping,
interceptions in a year?
yeah, I hope he gets one more so that he can have the record. Like, I
Yeah,
hope he just gets at least one more. I think he can. I don't see any reason why. They keep testing him, and quarterbacks keep finding out that he can catch just as good as his brother Stephon Diggs.
yeah.
He's got hands, and I've said it before. It'd be cool to see him maybe getting in on a trick play where he gets a pass thrown to him, and I'm sure he'll catch it. I have no doubt in my mind that if it's a good pass and he's open, he'll be able to catch that football. So yeah, it's pretty crazy that he's been able to keep up this rate. It's crazy in general how many turnovers have been generated by the defense, how many interceptions collectively as a team. It's pretty insane. I mean, you're looking like at almost 2 interceptions a game they're averaging, and that's pretty wild. That's just interceptions. I mean, we scored like every phase of the football game, and that's probably like the third or fourth game they've had where we score on offense, defense, and special teams because we blocked another punt
Yeah.
for a touchdown. So that's pretty big too. That doesn't happen very often at all.
I know he's got like
Yeah,
that record. I really hope he gets. especially with the
Yeah.
how he's always coverage on the primary guy, and he's done a good. How about Demarcus Lawrence running down the sideline, weaving in and out of people, bro, and still scoring that touchdown? I was like,
Someone was like,
what was those moves, big boy?
yeah, someone was like, is that Derrick Henry? They were
Yeah.
confused because he's so huge and he's just so big. But he just ran around the sideline. Like they were laughing on the sideline. I was watching Cowboys mic'd up on the sideline. They're laughing at him. They're like, yeah, tight rope off the sideline because he's just
Bro,
there. Like he's running for running back drills. That was a really good return.
I thought he stepped out like when he got to the sideline and that guy
Yeah.
came in front of him and he like stepped over him and around him real quick and kept going
Yeah.
straight. I thought he might have stepped out and they were going to do it. But then when they showed the other angle of it, he was like, well, like a couple inches.
For a guy that came back from a foot injury, that was pretty good.
Yeah,
that was pretty nice.
We
He's heating up too for us. That's another thing
Yes.
that really that's big that's showed up for us is like getting him back and having like Micah Parsons and Gregory on the other side. I mean, it just causes a whole world of trouble for offensive teams or for offensive lines and the team. Like, it's great having him back. I just hope everyone stays healthy these next 2 weeks and beyond.
Yeah, defense, like the guys' defense been really, really good all year. Having him back and actually a lot of pressure because you got him on one side, you can bring Parsons side, very dangerous. Plus, now you can actually like use Parsons everywhere on the field again. Up, putting pressure. So that I feel like you're. Who is? I think from the NFC. I think I got to see the way the playoff bracket breaks down. I really think Dallas could get there. To the NFC Championship at least. Seeing who they'd have to go through be a big factor. Because they could play Tampa Bay again, man. I do worry though, but I also think it could be a benefit to Dallas.
Yep.
If they do play Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers is very tough. Is off, but on the other side of that coin, you guys haven't played each other this year. He hasn't faced your defense this year. See what I'm saying? Like, so that could actually be a benefit if you guys get. He could get not seeing that type of pressure. I think offensively, you guys have shown you can keep up with anybody.
Yeah,
no question about that. But just, I don't know, man. That was kind of wild. Like, that last game, seeing how well your defense. And granted, like
they're still professional football teams.
Still, man, yeah.
You know,
like, they can afford it, and they don't have scrubs on that team. Like Antonio Gibson is really good. Terry McLaurin very good. They got a quarterback in there, stuff that can help those guys out.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So, like I think that could be like. I think I could see the NFC picture. I could see it Dallas and Green Bay. NFC Championship. I got to see like the.
Yeah. So, like, and speaking of defense, okay, we know that for defensive rookie of the year, that's going to be Micah Parsons, like all the way. There's just no way it's not going to be. But as much as I would love for him to also win defensive player of the year, which he is a candidate, let's say in the scenario he doesn't, because he is ranked number 2 on the list. The other players that are candidates for defensive player of the year is Myles Garrett. He's actually number 1 on the list. Number 3, of course, is T.J. Watt. Then, of course, you got Aaron Donald. He's always great. Trayvon Diggs is also a candidate as well. Nick Bosa, per usual. Nick Bosa is always great. Matt Judon from the Patriots, linebacker. Then you got J.C. Jackson for the Patriots as well, corner. Kevin Byard of safety for Tennessee, and then Trey Hendrickson, which is defensive end for the Cincinnati Bengals. But out of those top 6 guys, or we'll say top 5, because we're not including Micah. If Micah doesn't win it, out of those other guys, who would you think that would win it between Myles Garrett, T.J. Watt, Aaron Donald, Trayvon Diggs, and Nick Bosa?
Okay. Myles Garrett has had a crazy year.
Yeah.
Me personally, I'm torn when it comes. This is why.
Yeah.
I know from playing defensive myself,
Mm-hmm.
when I can put pressure on a quarterback and make a quarterback, and he cannot throw a good ball, that favors my defense. So, like, whenever there was interception that had occurred, me having to make a quarterback run and things like that, like, a lot of coaches complimented the guy making the play, making the pick, but I got a lot of praise for it too because I was the one behind the pressure, making him.
Absolutely. Yes.
But DBs don't get a ton of interceptions, man, and the fact that the dude's got 11 on the year is a huge thing. I saw some stat during Washington, and correct me if I'm wrong. I know this. I saw it was like Trayvon Diggs has given up the most yards,
Yeah.
but he's had like something. It was such a weird stat. It was like he's had the tightest coverage, but he's given up the most yards. He has the most interceptions. So it was kind of like, dude, the guy has like people catch the ball. He's maybe like half a yard of separation from, but
Yeah.
he's given up the most yards. But he also has the most like interceptions in the league this year. It was like a compliment, and then kind of like here's a little gray
I feel
area.
like
Compliment, gray area. You
yeah.
know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, and I feel like that's because that's like from a past, like it could be the same drive, a receiver gets a 5-yard catch on you, an 8-yard catch, they throw a bomb to him another series and you get an interception.
oh yeah,
A lot of those yards are negated or get cleared out by the interception because those yards won't matter if that receiver doesn't end up scoring or if it just turns into a turnover. So
yeah.
although that might be the case, that just tells you that Trayvon is playing the best receivers. He's playing them, typically following them around the entire game,
Oh yeah, yeah.
and he, like he's constantly out on the field. So, um, yeah, it's an interesting stat to see it play out like that. But like I said, I think it's because he's constantly on the field. He's constantly going up against the best receivers that are on the team, and he's making something big happen more often than not. Which is the biggest factor there is that he's making a play on the football when the opportunity presents itself. And usually, if he doesn't get there, like you said, he's like maybe half a yard behind someone, or just shy, or it's just a good pass, and you just couldn't reach it without
It was just
interference or
like,
something.
is this like a weird stat they put out there?
Yeah.
Like, okay, so, and it kind of goes back to your point of like, when it comes to the Cowboys, they can't just ever give them their.
Yeah, they
They
can't
always
just
give
say
them,
something nice. It's
yeah,
got to be
they
something
give them a
negative.
backhand compliment. And that's kind of what it was. It was like, yeah, he just tied this record that stood for 90 years and stuff. And here's his statistics. He's got 11 interceptions on the year, but he's given up the most
Yeah,
yards. Like,
yeah,
I was like, all right, whatever. But, but yeah, like, I don't know, man. That list, I don't think Aaron Donald has had as impactful as a year as
as
people.
he's had before, right?
Yeah, like I think
Yeah,
he's just a name they throw out. Same thing with T.J.
yeah,
Watt. I wouldn't consider him to be like top 3 because even though he makes a lot of like individual plays, the Steelers defense has been trash.
yeah.
They've
And
been
I've
bad.
seen more videos of TJ getting pissed off and punching other
Yeah,
players
exactly.
and doing
Like
crazy stuff that maybe in the 60s and 70s you'd look like a badass, but you can't do that stuff now. You can't
I
start
would
punching guys in the helmet and stuff like that.
I would actually say Miles Garrett,
He is a badass, though. He
okay,
is a
Trayvon Diggs, second for me.
yeah,
I would put linebacker from the Patriots at 3 because their defense is. I would throw Micah Parsons at 4
sorry about that.
just because he's going to be like defensive rookie of the year. Um, And to round out my top five, you could probably put um, Nick Bosa here. He's had a pretty big impact for
Yeah.
they're in the hunt for everything, but
Dang it. And Miles Garrett has 15 sacks this year. And
yeah, he's been balling out.
as impressive as it is to play linebacker in a rookie year like Micah has and get the sacks he is, people have to understand too that it's just different when you're lining up on the line to get to the quarterback against linemen and playing defensive end and playing that role versus playing linebacker. You kind of have the opportunity to fire at them from different angles and usually get someone to miss picking you up on a block, etc. And usually, as a defensive end, you're lining up right in front of someone else. One or two other guys are guaranteed to get in your face. So the fact that Miles Garrett has amassed 15 sacks this season is that's amazing. That's the most sacks he's had his entire career. He's a monster of a guy, so it's not a surprise. And the dude is a freak athlete. He's fast and he's even bigger, than most guys that are that speed. So I wouldn't be mad at Miles Garrett getting that award at all because he's been dominant for sure.
Um, is there a team right now? So let's say, because like we already talked about it with
Mm-hmm.
a lot of close teams.
Yeah.
Is there a team that you are afraid to play? Basically, been kind of on the fence, offs that you don't want to face. Because there's a team I know that I definitely do not want to face in the way they've been.
Face in the first round. I mean, really, there's only going to be one of three teams. Um, one of three teams. I would probably say. I mean, for me, I think the way I feel about it is probably maybe the 49ers, just because this isn't a football team that Dallas has really been familiar with the last few years. The last time we played the 49ers, are a completely different football team, completely different roster. Um, with Bosa on that team, then they got guys like Deebo Samuel. Then they have an option with Garoppolo and Trey Lance. And they've shown that they can play pretty good defense too, as well as be explosive offensively. It's probably a team I'd prefer not to play out of the other two options, which would end up being the Eagles or the Vikings, which are teams that we've played more recently and are a lot more familiar with. The 49ers are probably the last team I would want to play, like I mentioned, just because we're not experience playing against that roster that they have right now, which is pretty good. And then you got, of course, how could I forget George Kittle? I mean, that's another big time playmaker on their team. The guy's amazing and has hands. I mean, he's basically their own Travis Kelce. If you want to make a comparison, he's a great player. So yeah, the 49ers for me would be a dangerous game. I feel more confident playing the team that we do know and we're familiar with since the last few seasons.
Team I don't want to face right now, anybody, is the Indianapolis Colts.
Colts.
They really work. I think the way that team is defense, I think with their offense they got going, Carson Wentz is playing like he was first couple years in the league. I mean, these are their games since Tennessee. They lost 34-31, 30 or 15, lost by 7 against, beat the Texans 31, nothing, Patriots.
Yeah, and those games that they lost, those games are more of the offense needing to be more consistent because you, as great as Jonathan Taylor is, you can't put everything on his shoulders all the time. Running the football is tough, and you don't want to burn him out either. But yeah, I mean the Colts are doing good. So I mean, right now is going to be a chance, honestly, for Carson Wentz to show what he's got if he can get into the playoffs and make a deep run and make Philly wish they never let him go. I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He has an opportunity to turn around his credentials for his career at this point because he hasn't really gotten the chance to play in the playoffs, much less succeed. He's helped his team get there, but he's never actually got there, performed, and done all that. So yeah, I mean the Colts look like they'll be really good. They've been slowing down teams with their defense. I mean, they're the only other team besides Dallas that has the most takeaways from teams. They're getting it done. They're making plays on the football. So
I
yeah,
do
I mean
see,
that's a big time team.
here that uh,
Oh, did they?
yeah, there you go.
Oh no.
So this week, depending on how that goes. Oh, yeah. Woo!
Yeah, it's rough. I'm just keeping my fingers crossed. I mean, not just for Dallas, but for all teams in the playoffs that nobody has to get struck by the COVID bug and have important key players go out. But I guess it's just something that well, we'll just have to see going forward. Hopefully it doesn't happen and we can keep a pretty solid playoff round for everybody, all teams having the best available players to be on the football field.
What do you think about the matchups? I'm already mad like this weekend. I'm not. Well, hold on. Let me rephrase it. I'm not mad. Okay, I 100% understand why they're doing. I respect what they're doing. It just annoys me because you got guys.
Oh,
Basically, we have Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, two top wide receivers for Ohio State. Um, so it is what it is. Like they want to pursue career. They don't want to take a chance of getting hurt. They played the whole entire regular season. I actually posted a tweet about it. I said respect and say thank you to the guys for their 3 and 4 years of dedication to eating for it. They're going to be out. We have other athletes. We got other guys that can say.
yeah, of course.
But I also made the comment like Utah is not going to have anybody out. It's
Yeah.
going to be their freaking super. And I'm going to hear this stuff if Ohio State loses because they're going to have 12 guys out sitting out this game. Rose Bowl. um, you know, Utah's not going to have anybody out, so do beat
Yeah.
them. It is what it is, but that kind of stuff, man, I respect it. I appreciate like what the guys have done, but man, part of me also too is just like, out of their whole entire career, like Chris Olave's career,
Hmm.
he's played, I think, of one Rose Bowl. He already did this. Garrett Wilson's never played in a Rose Bowl. And like the Rose Bowl is the longest bowl game to date. That is like, and I can't remember if it's like Brett Musburger or they always call it the granddaddy of them all because it is like
Yeah.
bowl games.
Yep.
And this new thing with athletes, kind of like you've made it this far in your career, you may never get this opportunity to compete for a championship again, even in the pros. Just because
Oh
you go
yeah,
pro,
especially the
like
pros.
you could never get a championship,
Never.
and they want to like pass on it. Go pursue that national status. To me, this is the way I see it. Um, Todd McShay's been putting out his Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson have been this year's the whole time. The only thing that changed was he now has Garrett Wilson before Chris Olave on the draft. He has Garrett Wilson as like, I think Chris Olave is like even if you do get hurt and it's not something like crazy, like where you completely had your leg amputated, teams are gonna pick you up.
Yeah,
Like you've
for sure.
had freaking running backs and stuff tear their ACLs, and guess what? They're still drafted first round. Like
Okay.
if you're that good and you've shown you're that good throughout your career, like teams are still going. That's the
Yeah,
only thing that bothers me is just don't want to take that risk or that chance. But like me, it's like you're still gonna get. I understand that though. I
yeah,
was really looking forward to this game this week. Now I feel like Utah out and actually like beat us. I could be wrong. Ohio State could go out there, but we already have like a lot of huge impact guys that are out. So part of me was, well, it is what it is. I was afraid. Been really worried about the transfer too. You got kids transfer. So like some of the kids we've had leave, they're third stringers. But if
yeah,
you think about it, going into next year, if they stayed, they could potentially be a first string or second string.
absolutely.
So now that they've transferred to another school, like these recruits we bring in, they're already going to be kind of looked at to step up and play and possibly be in a rotation. Now your depth isn't there because you're like relying on guys that you're bringing in as first year. Whereas you could have got a guy that's already 2 years. Um, that kind of worried me. Some of the games that do worry me this week. Um, the Dallas Cardinals game really interesting just for the sake of like if they win and Green Bay loses, that can definitely change a huge playoff implication for Dallas.
Yeah, and that's gonna make a difference, I think, of looking at that final game against the Eagles, which I mean, essentially, we really don't have to win, other than it's gonna come down to the coaches deciding, okay, is winning against the Eagles Sunday going to be a priority because we can get the first seed. If not, then okay, we're going to rest starters. So yeah, it's going to be interesting because it's going to have implications not just of where Dallas is really at against another good team that has a similar record, but it's going to also set the tone for what we're going to be doing going forward. Not only until next week in the Eagles game, but in the postseason. So yeah, it's really gonna be an interesting matchup. And I mean, honestly, I really think we owe them one. They beat us the last time we played. Kyler Murray talked a little bit of smack, and he hasn't been playing too well. So I'm hoping we can take advantage of that instead of letting him take advantage of us. So yeah, it should be a good game. It should be interesting.
Um, I just hope I hope Dallas continues the way they've been. So
Yeah,
I really hope can
yeah,
just give me like Zeke has been so this. He's had the knee injury, had a roller coaster of a ride this year. People are like Zeke was everything, and that happens. Like everybody's got a shelf. Dude's been in the league now for what 9 years, 7 years,
this is a six, I think.
six. They'll be going like, but the dude's been had how many rushing titles?
Hmm.
The guy's definitely had his work. He's had miles put on him in college. Had
Yeah, oh no, yeah, no. Zeke
several
has
2000 seasons in college. Um,
Zeke is yeah, he has miles per. I mean, I don't even remember, but they used to talk about when we first started playing him and how often he was running the football. Dallas has to consider how much gas they're giving him with his career in tech. Because look, you can look at the numbers. His first season, he got the ball 322 times,
that's insane.
1,600 rushing yards. Second season, about 242 times, just under 1,000 rushing yards. That was the season that I think he got suspended, missed 6 games.
Yeah, I think
The next season, 304 attempts. So over 300 again, 1,400 yards. over 300 attempts again. 2019, 1,300 yards. These last few years, he's seen fewer carries. But we also have Pollard, added recently within the last few years. But yeah, I mean, the guy's got a total of 7,000 rushing yards and over 7,000 rushing yards in 6 seasons, 56 touchdowns. You're talking about 1,600 attempts, like
Yeah.
1,600 handoffs. So yeah, he's run the football a lot in his career in the NFL alone.
I just I really want to win this league because this is the league that, like, remember how I've told you, like, I got like my work league and like casual people do whatever to win. This is that league though where like college but fantasy football addicts
Yeah.
and like tryhards. I really want to win this league just for the fact because some of them take it like so serious. They're like, if there's a subscription for fantasy football, they are subscribed to it. They have
Yeah.
like, they're the person that has like 80 monitors in their room, like reading all these articles and stuff. Like they go that hard at it. But I just hope I get a good performance. The other game that actually is really like intriguing to do is the Cincinnati Kansas City game, or
Yes.
for the fact of Cincinnati because they're sitting at top of their division right now, and if they win that, other games like kind of favor for them. Teams lose, they could actually clinch.
Yes.
Um, that would be really cool because Cincinnati's had very, very, very rough years. Um, if Kansas City loses, not really going to impact them that. I'm pretty sure games ahead. Uh, yeah, they're 3 games ahead of them. They got that. Those 2 games really interest me. This interesting to see, and I'm actually really interested to see how Dallas handled Kyler Murray. They haven't faced quarterback his mobility.
Yeah.
Be interesting to see. I think long term, say they do make a run in the playoffs, I mean, you're going to have to face a very accurate, mobile Mahomes down the road. Aaron
Yeah.
Rodgers is mobile and accurate.
Yeah.
Got something crazy happens with the Ravens and Lamar Jackson gets back. That dude is a running back who can throw the football. Like, that dude is
Yeah.
crazy fast. So, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I feel like if we learn enough from the experience playing against the Chiefs, that can help us carry that into this Cardinals game as far as like trying to contain Kyler Murray. I don't even care to compare the game from last year because the game from last year obviously completely different defense, completely different
Oh, yeah.
coordinator, completely different everything. So I feel good about going into this matchup against the Cardinals, and I'm glad that it ended up being a scenario where we're going to play the Cardinals with everybody that we have, like our best players, and not something where like, well, the number one seed's out of reach, so we probably won't play all our starters or the whole game, or you know what I mean, kind of be more conservative. Um, so yeah, there's gonna be some really good games
You know
coming up
what's
Sunday.
is I think Dan Quinn is like the best answer
Hmm.
because you think about him being the defense battle for. He always had to kind of come up camp or whatever. It's very
Yeah,
mobile. He has the ability to scream because of this. I've seen it before too. So, interesting,
yeah, most
especially
definitely.
being right there with Green Bay. Like they just screw up and then hide.
Yeah,
And I think you could probably look at which. How would that work? Say Green Bay loses this week. Say Dallas wins. Tied going last week, and they both win. How do they then determine who would get the number? They haven't played each other. There's no tiebreaker.
that is a good question. I'm not too sure.
They look at like, do they do like a strength of record in the NFL?
Let's see. I'm trying to read through the procedures.
I don't know that scenario is like happened where. You have two teams tied for the same record. That
To break a tie, oh no, not within. I don't know. That's hard because a tie to break the win for the wild card, tie to break a tie for the wild card team. No, I'm trying to go to the tie breaking procedures. I don't see anything about that scenario. It's only to a tie breaking to win the division or to get into the wild card.
may not
Um,
have a protocol.
yeah, I'm not sure. I don't have any idea how that would work because they both have the same records. They never played each other. They're both in the
Yeah,
NFC. That's a tough one.
I've seen like in high schools and stuff.
Are they gonna flip a coin?
Seriously, like I've seen in high school situations where they've had teams like that um, didn't play each other and they couldn't determine the tiebreaker.
Yeah,
And but it definitely like good advantage
yeah, for sure.
stuff. So like they actually flipped.
Yeah, that's interesting. It might come down to that because I don't see anything here that says about how they determine that, especially since they haven't played each other this year.
Which I mean, at the end of the day, like if you get to the that situation, probably you're gonna have home field
Yeah,
to if you're playing the wild card, playing one of the teams that's not as good as you and been able to handle.
yeah, absolutely.
Is there anything else we want to cover for we dip on out, man? Fortnite tournament stream.
I guess one last thing before we head out of here because I gotta get back on the work phone or just kind of be available. Yeah, big shout outs and big rest in peace to John Madden.
Oh,
Uh, 85 years old, passed away the other morning. And a lot of people that are younger might not know this, but he's more than just a football name. He was a coach, an inspirational figure in football that changed the face of football. I mean, he was a mentor and a leader to not just the teams that he was on, but to many coaches and players in the NFL going forward. An announcer. I mean, the guy's just a legend overall, Hall of Famer. So big time loss as far as for football, but I mean, he's always going to be a part of the NFL and someone that you that comes to mind when you talk about coaches in the NFL. He was a great coach at the Raiders and a couple other teams that I'm sure he coached as well. One of the things I know about him is that he was definitely a big time motivational speaker. He really knew how to get a team, going and become the best version of themselves and the best players themselves. So yeah, big shout outs to him and condolences to him and the family, and everyone in his circle. The NFL definitely lost a legend the other day with John Madden. Then I think a lot of us have, especially older, grew up hearing John Madden all the time. Thanksgiving
oh
games,
yes, dude.
and then I even used to hate it too, or I hated it when like John Madden wasn't like the voiceovers anymore on the game either. That's like when it kind of like changed for me.
Yeah.
I missed having him call the games, just playing the game. You know what I mean? Like, so that was always really enjoyable to have him as part of the actual video game that's named after him.
He was definitely a legend for sure. Gotten legend. Definitely game of football. Man, that will never be forgotten for honestly, man. Couldn't be said any better. That was see that. That's gonna wrap it up for us though this week. Next week, be back on the normal grind, back at work stuff. Hopefully, I'll have some hardware on my hand, show you guys my ring
Yeah.
I get. But yeah, just be sure to keep checking in on your stuff. Those of you that are in your championship game,
Good luck.
we got college football playoffs coming up. New Year's Eve, you got the Alabama Crimson Tide facing the Cincinnati Bearcats, and then you got Michigan Wolverines facing Dogs. Should be some pretty good games. I think Cincinnati's gonna hang with them. That they'll beat them, but I think they're gonna give them a game. A lot of people are like saying they don't really deserve to be there. They deserve to be there. Like those kids are gonna come out and play. Luke Fickell is a very good defensive minded coach. He has a lot of resources. I know, in fact, he's probably called Urban. He's probably called Ryan Day. He's called a lot of people that have like beaten Nick Saban over. He has a game plan. Do they have the athletes to keep? This is the last podcast of the year, though. Thank you all, guys' support. Whether it's been in the Twitch channel, whether it's been on the YouTube pages, whether Spotify, listening to the podcast. We appreciate it. This is something on with. Continuing to add to. Start of the new year for the Spotify page. It will be documented as, I think it's like season 1. Now I'm going to go ahead and start next year as season. Here we start. Just have a full year. Everything. We're going to be bringing you guys a lot more content too. Talking about NFL off season. We're going to be getting into NBA, UFC, boxing, a lot more. Definitely got a lot of things planned. You guys be safe of this year. Have really thought about your New Year's resolutions. Anybody has any questions? Regards to like training, sports, streaming, podcasting, anything. Reach out to myself on my social media platform. For gaming, TikTok, gaming, Twitch, and my Twitter is at Church1000. Reach out to little Jacob too. He's been streaming for a long time. Very knowledgeable. Jacob will let you out or.
Yeah, guys, little Jacob here. Little with the 3 instead of an E. Don't forget you can always look me up on TikTok, Twitch, Twitter. I also have a Facebook page. Feel free to reach out to me in regards to sports or anything like that. But yeah, guys, have a safe and happy New Year's Eve. Be careful. Remember to throw the firecrackers. Don't light them and pop them in your hands. Seriously, don't do that, please, ever. But yeah, take care. We'll be back with season 2 in 2022 and get into the sports. And then, right before you know it, we're going to be looking at draft day, college startup, football startup, and we're going to start this all over again. If you guys are in the championship round of your fantasy football leagues, congratulations. You probably don't really need for us to give you any kind of tips or insights at this point because your roster is the roster that got you there, and that's probably the roster that you should be playing with. So much luck to you guys on that. I hope you all guys have a great day, and we will be back very soon.
Peace.